welcome back. Today we are talking about a body horror film of 2024, The Substance, starring Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. This is probably my favorite film of 2024. I still haven't seen Anora, which I'm about to go see, and it looks good. I really love Mikey Madison, so maybe that'll change things, but so far this movie has kind of stuck with me a bit, and I've thought about it a lot, and I already thought it kind of had a deep meaning, but I've watched a few other reviews on YouTube and found like a lot more Easter eggs or things that I didn't really think of myself, and just have come to the appreciation for this movie and what it is. If this movie had to have one theme or a message, I think that message would be
take care of yourself.
Take care of yourselves. You know, they say it at the end of their workout, and I didn't catch it before, but it was something that I thought of while I was watching these reviews from other YouTubers, and then I started watching like clips from the movie, and then I caught, you know, a big theme was to take care of yourself, and this was actually the idea that I had. I wanted to do the whole review on, but I didn't realize that specifically at the end of their workout class they even say take care of yourselves, which I think is funny, and almost like a hidden nod to the fact that they were not taking care of themselves or each other. The movie starts out with Demi Moore, Elizabeth, who is an aging Hollywood actress slash workout instructor, and she's kind of aging out of the business, and she feels really bad about it. She feels really bad about herself. You see this kind of reflected a lot in the way that she looks at herself in the mirror in her bathroom, and the bathroom scenes, I believe, are a representation of her feelings towards herself. She's always, you know, when you see her in the bathroom, I think that's like when she's naked the most of the times too, and you really do get to see Demi Moore fully naked, and as a gay guy I think I was way too excited for that, but I think that's a representation of seeing her naked, as well as like not just her body but her mind and the way she feels about herself, and you see her vulnerability when she looks in the mirror. And it's unfortunate, but she didn't feel very good about herself, so she eventually comes across someone who offers her the Substance, which is this new drug which can make a clone or a younger version of yourself, a better version of yourself, they say, and you have to kind of split your time between these two bodies. It's like 1 week you're your older self, 1 week you're your younger self. So yeah, she finds this drug called the Substance, and it basically splits her into her younger, better self and her regular self, and she has to spend her time between these two bodies. And that's actually why I wore this shirt, because it reminded me of the eggs at the beginning of the movie in the science lab. You see two eggs that get split, which is like what happens to the character. She becomes her younger self, and she calls herself Sue at that point, and Sue kind of takes over the job that Demi Moore got let go of, as being this like a famous workout TV host. The way that the drug is taken is a shot, and it's pretty graphic. It's a little gruesome. Like, this movie has a lot of body horror. It shows a lot of body mutilation, deformity, mutations, kind of a lot of really gross body stuff. And I think I heard that the director or the writer or someone really wanted to pay homage to The Fly, and that's why they had this scene. So yeah, they take a shot, and it kind of reminded me of Ozempic, because I know people who have been taking Ozempic, and I know I've heard about it in the media. I've watched like YouTube videos on it from Sloan, I love him. He always talks about it. And it seems like a lot of celebrities are using it. And I'm not trying to knock anybody trying to feel better about themselves or be healthier. Of course, like, that's a good thing, but sometimes people have to be honest with themselves, I think, on the superficial reasons why someone might take something like that. So I think it was like a big comparison to that drug in the sense of like it was a shot that you take weekly, and it's like this miracle drug, right? That was like hot this last summer. So yeah, I think Ozempic was definitely the kind of one of the inspirations or a model that was kind of used in this movie, or maybe it's just coincidentally very similar. I don't know how long this script was in progress, but it was really going along with the Ozempic craze. You know, I think that a lot of people would see this movie as like women in Hollywood struggle to stay relevant, and that is true. But I think it's a lot broader than just that. I think that it applies to all women, and not just women, but men also, and what they chase. Whatever it is that you think makes you desirable, makes you a person of substance. The thing is, you know, real substance isn't superficial. It's not chasing youth. It's not trying to be successful, like make the most money, get the most views on YouTube. Real substance is like who you are as a person, and you know, the way you treat others, the way that you live your life, and the way you feel about your life. I think that's what real substance is, and we get kind of this delusion with the media of like what success looks like or happiness, and it's it can be really kind of toxic, and I think that this movie kind of really portrays that. So Elizabeth is, you know, this aging actress who feels less valuable because of her age, and she's kind of being phased out of her career. So in this sense, we see aging as being of less value, and I think a lot of people can kind of feel that way, have a fear of aging, and so that's why I say it can relate to anybody. And you see whenever the younger version of herself, Sue, abuses the substance, her punishment for that is Elizabeth. She ages, and she becomes more haggard and more withered, and whenever Sue abuses the substance and she stays longer than she's supposed to in her body, Elizabeth wakes up and her finger starts to look like an old witch, and then later on, when Sue abuses it again, she gets even worse, and she gets like white hair and half her body becomes old, and it kind of just shows like, you know, the punishment is what she fears already. It's becoming old. I think that that's a strong message too, because it's like she already hates herself for being old, and now she's feeling even older because she has so much resentment about her youth. I think that, you know, it makes the fact that she is getting old, which is the inevitable for all of us, she resents it more, or it becomes more prominent, you know, in her life. And that's represented by her physically becoming old. And so back to the original main message, which is take care of yourself. And taking care of yourself, not just physically, but mentally. And we see that Elizabeth did not really take care or love herself. I found this really represented, and I didn't really hear any other reviewers talking about this, but it's something that I recognized when I was watching the movie, and I thought like, oh, this is like what I want to say in my review. And I have heard people like talk about the theme of her not loving or taking care of herself, but I haven't heard people mention the fact that, you know, when she crawls out of her older body, when she just leaves her there on the floor, and she's naked, like on a bathroom floor, like that can't be very comfortable. You think if that was you, if it was anybody, but especially yourself, you would put them in a bed, you might cover them, but she just leaves her like on a tile floor naked. And I think that that was a really strong representation of like her not loving or taking care of herself. And it makes you think of like, you know, times when you don't take care of your own self, or your future self. And you could do that. I used to do that by, you know, maybe staying out too late drinking, knowing I worked in the morning, knowing I'm going to be suffering tomorrow morning. Like, that was a way I was not looking out for future Tony. And even more so in like more subtle ways, like your future self, your body, your health, the things that you do today that are going to affect you in the long run. These are ways that we don't love ourselves or love our future selves. And then also in the sense of Demi Moore not loving herself or her younger self, she becomes resentful of her younger self because she's trying to attain this youth. She's chasing after something that she feels has like left her, and she kind of disrespects like the beauty of her youth as a fleeting moment. And by trying to hold on to that so hard and not accepting what is inevitable, which is aging, she ends up resenting her youth. And you see them resent each other. Sue resents Elizabeth, her younger self resents her older self for becoming older and losing value, and her older self resents her younger self for not taking care of her. And as for the ending of this movie, I thought it was really crazy and really fun, and I kind of took me out of it. I thought the movie was better than the ending, but I also was like, okay, well, who am I to judge what this person wanted to do with their movie? So I accepted the ending. I thought it was crazy. Watching this last review, I got a whole new appreciation for the ending and the meaning behind it, and it kind of had a positive spin, because instead of, you know, at the end when they're fighting like almost to the death, instead of destroying herself with the Terminator or whatever that other one was called, the other shot, she activates herself again, and she becomes a monster that's this version of her past and her future and her present self, and they're all kind of in the same body. And even though she is a monster, it is more truthful of her being united and as a whole with herself, instead of this like separation, trying to escape from like her older self. Now she's like living in the reality of like this monster that she sees herself as. But it's kind of beautiful because like it's, at least it's like the acceptance of it, maybe. I don't know. So that was just like a something that I didn't really think of when I watched the movie, but I think is kind of like a strong kind of hidden meaning that was being told. Thanks for watching. If you liked my video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And
until next time, remember,
take care of yourself.